This video is for educational purposes only, not medical advice. Always consult your doctor before making any dietary or lifestyle changes. Margaret has made the same Sunday breakfast for 40 years. Eggs fried in butter in the same cast iron pan her mother gave her. Some Sundays the butter browns too fast and turns bitter before the eggs are even in the pan. She scrapes it out, wipes the pan, starts again with a fresh pat of butter, and has never once wondered why it happens. It's just what butter does when the pan gets too hot. She's adjusted her whole cooking style around it without ever really deciding to. Somewhere in Margaret's kitchen right now, there's a stick of butter sitting in a wrapper that's barely 100 years old. And thousands of miles away, and thousands of years earlier, someone was making a different kind of fat from that same milk. One that never burned in a hot pan, never went rancid on a long journey, and is mentioned in the Bible more often than butter ever was. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what that fat is, why it quietly disappeared from most American kitchens, and one simple swap that would have solved Margaret's Sunday morning problem before it ever started. If you are new here, subscribe to Ancestral Fix. Every week we find what the ancient world knew and what your body still needs. Stay with me. Let's start with butter itself, since it's worth understanding what you're actually working with. Butter is made by churning cream until the fat separates from the liquid, called buttermilk. It's a relatively simple process, and it's been around for thousands of years in various forms. But the butter sitting in a plastic tub or foil wrapper in your fridge today is different in a few important ways from what people made at home for most of history. Pasteurized, sometimes with added salt or preservatives, and always requiring refrigeration to keep from spoiling. Now picture something older. In parts of the ancient Near East, India, and North Africa, people took that same churned butter and did one more thing to it. They simmered it slowly over low heat until the water content cooked off and the milk solids separated and settled, leaving behind a pure golden fat. That fat is called Ghee, and it's been made this way for thousands of years. Ghee, or something very close to it, shows up throughout the Old Testament. The phrase milk and honey appears again and again as a symbol of abundance and blessing. The Promised Land itself is described this way in the book of Exodus. Biblical scholars and food historians who study the diet of the ancient Near East generally agree that the butter referenced throughout Scripture in Genesis, when Abraham serves butter and milk to his 3 visitors, and in the book of Judges, when Jael offers Sisera butter in a magnificent bowl, was very likely closer to clarified butter than to the soft, perishable butter we know today, since clarified butter was what survived in a hot climate without refrigeration. That's really the heart of why this fat mattered so much for so long. In a world without refrigeration, ordinary butter spoiled within days, especially somewhere hot and dry. Clarified butter, with its water and milk solids removed, could last for months, sometimes longer, stored at room temperature in a sealed clay jar. That single difference, a longer shelf life without spoiling, made it one of the most practical and valuable fats a household could keep. Let's talk about what changed. For most of the 20th century, refrigeration became widely available across the developed world, and the practical need for a shelf-stable fat quietly disappeared. Ordinary butter, softer and milder in flavor, became the easy default. Once keeping it cold was no longer a daily concern. The old method of clarifying butter mostly survived in parts of the world where refrigeration remained less common for longer, particularly in South Asian and Middle Eastern households, where ghee never actually left the kitchen the way it did in much of the West. So what's actually different between the two, beyond just shelf life? This is where it gets interesting. When butter is clarified into ghee, the milk solids, the proteins, and much of the lactose are removed along with the water. What is left is almost entirely pure fat. That matters for a very practical reason. As we get older, many adults gradually become less able to comfortably digest lactose and dairy proteins over time, something that becomes noticeably more common after 60 than it was at 30. Ghee, with those components removed, is generally well tolerated, even by many people who find that regular butter, cream, or milk cause digestive discomfort. It is not a guarantee for everyone, especially for those with a severe dairy allergy rather than lactose sensitivity. But for many people dealing with mild dairy discomfort, it is worth knowing this distinction exists. There is a second practical difference that shows up the moment you start cooking with it, the exact moment that trips Margaret up almost every Sunday. Ordinary butter has a relatively low smoke point, the temperature at which its milk solids start to burn, turning bitter and producing smoke. That is why butter scorches so easily in a hot pan the second your attention drifts for even a few seconds. Smoke point matters, and Ghee, with those solids removed, has a significantly higher smoke point, closer to many refined cooking oils, which means you can sear, roast, and pan fry at higher heat, without the fat breaking down and turning acrid the way butter does. Traditional Indian cooking, which relies heavily on ghee, developed this way in part because of exactly that property, high-heat cooking that ordinary butter simply cannot handle. Margaret has spent 40 years quietly working around a problem she never had to have. Let us move into why this matters more specifically after 60. Between the digestive tolerance many people find with ghee and its stability at higher cooking temperatures, it is a fat that tends to fit comfortably into a wider range of everyday cooking than butter alone, from a gentle sauté to a hot sear without needing to switch fats depending on the dish. Shelf-stable. Ghee is also shelf-stable at room temperature for months, which matters less today than it did 3,000 years ago. But it is still a convenient, practical quality if you like to keep a jar within easy reach of the stove rather than digging through the refrigerator door every time you cook. Now, before you assume this means butter is somehow bad or that you need to throw out what is in your fridge, that is not what this is about. Butter is a perfectly reasonable fat for many uses, particularly where you want its lighter, milder flavor, like spreading it on warm bread or melting it over vegetables at the table. What we are talking about here is your cooking fat specifically, the one you reach for in a hot pan, and whether an older, more traditional option might handle that job better than the modern default sitting in your butter dish. So how would you actually make this switch? You have two simple options. The first is buying Ghee directly. It's now widely available in most grocery stores, usually in the same aisle as cooking oils, or in the specialty foods section, sold in small glass jars. Look for a short ingredient list, ideally just butter or cultured cream, since some products marketed as ghee are actually blended with other oils, which changes both the flavor and the smoke point you're paying for. A little goes a long way, since it's pure fat with a rich, slightly nutty flavor once it's been properly clarified. The second option is making it yourself, which is simpler than it sounds and exactly how it was done for thousands of years. Place a pound of unsalted butter in a heavy-bottomed pot over low heat. Let it melt completely, then continue cooking gently. You will see it foam as the water cooks off, and eventually the milk solids will separate and sink to the bottom, turning a light golden brown. This whole process takes roughly 20 to 30 minutes on low heat, and patience matters here. Rushing it with higher heat is the most common way to burn the milk solids and ruin the batch. Once the liquid turns a clear golden color and smells faintly nutty, strain it through a cheesecloth or a fine mesh strainer into a clean, dry glass jar, leaving the brown milk solids behind. Let it cool completely before sealing. Stored properly in a cool, dark place, it will keep at room temperature for several months, or in the refrigerator considerably longer. Use it exactly the way you would use butter or cooking oil. for sautéing vegetables, searing meat or fish, frying eggs, or stirring a spoonful into rice or roasted vegetables just before serving. Many people find the flavor richer and more satisfying than either plain butter or neutral cooking oil, which is part of why it has remained a kitchen staple across so many cultures for so long. Now, if you've spent years hearing that saturated fat in general should be minimized as you get older, this next part is worth sitting with. The conversation around saturated fat and heart health has evolved over the past couple of decades, and current nutrition guidance generally emphasizes moderation and overall dietary pattern rather than eliminating any single traditional fat outright. Ghee, used as one part of a varied diet rather than as the primary fat in every meal, fits within that kind of moderate approach, the same way olive oil, butter, or any other traditional cooking fat would. This is exactly the kind of question worth raising with your doctor if you're managing cholesterol or heart disease specifically, since individual guidance varies. But it's also worth knowing that a fat this old, used carefully and in reasonable amounts, isn't automatically something to fear. This is really the same quiet theme running through so much of what we cover on this channel. It's rarely about a single ingredient being simply good or simply bad. It's about understanding what a food actually is, how it was traditionally made and used, and whether the modern, convenient version still serves the same purpose the original one did. Let's come back to where we started. A stick of butter in a wrapper, barely a century old, sitting next to a golden fat that's been made the same simple way for thousands of years, mentioned throughout Scripture as a symbol of abundance, long before refrigeration made softer butter the easy default. Nothing about ghee ever disappeared. It just stopped being necessary. In most Western kitchens, once the refrigerator made shelf-stable fat feel like an unnecessary extra step, and in the process, a fat that many people digest more easily and that handles a hot pan far better than butter ever could, quietly slipped out of most people's daily cooking. Somewhere out there, Margaret is going to make eggs again this Sunday. Maybe this time the pan won't need wiping out and starting over. If there's one thing to take from today, let it be this: sometimes the older version of something isn't outdated. It's simply been waiting for us to need it again. This video is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. Always consult your doctor before making dietary or lifestyle changes, especially if you are managing cholesterol, heart disease, or a dairy allergy. If this kind of gentle, ancestral wisdom speaks to you, consider subscribing, because next time we are looking at a weapon the Byzantine Empire used for 800 years that was so effective and so secret, the formula disappeared when the empire fell. We would love to have you along.